I don't know if you've noticed, but I have a hobby named self-imposed stress. The feeling that everybody else is flourishing and you're stuck at that same spot for who knows how long can be really overwhelming. While I'm happy with where I am, there's always that pesky reminder of where I would like to be. I don't know, maybe it's my greed that led me this way, or maybe it's the ingrained nature in Asian households to bring honor to the family. Or maybe it's society's nearly impossible standards that everyone wants to run towards. I don't know. All I know is that every human being goes through this feeling of worthlessness at a certain point in their life. Isn't that fun? Here are 5 things that I've learned that help me release pressure. The first one is to learn when to put down your phone. Yes, you. Ever heard of social media detox? It can help you feel less anxious and get in touch with the present real world. Not like I'm saying you ain't doing that with your phone, but it actually helps you focus and reflect on how things impact your life. Wow. If you find yourself struggling with this, try deleting your apps or tag a buddy along with your suffering. Journey. Or set a specific time on how long you're supposed to access those apps. 2. Remind yourself that doing your best and making it perfect are 2 entirely different things. We prefer to set our minds to the first one. The brain of a perfectionist will tell you this: if you don't achieve this, you're late. If you don't achieve that, then you don't have the means to be in this path. Or you're incompetent, or you're not smart enough. Bring dishonor to your family. It's basically dealing with tough love. Am I right? You are pushing yourself to a fictitious character that is impossible to achieve. And then when you realize that you can't, you get stumped with deprecating thoughts and down a spiral of self-doubt, anxiety, depression, and self-worthiness we go. On the other side, doing your best means recognizing both your strengths and weaknesses. You find your achievements in the process despite not going where you wanted to be. Wow, I ran 8 kilometers on my first run. You made more progress than you thought possible. Doing your best feels better because you are talking to yourself a lot better. 3. Try meditation. I recently learned how helpful meditation and deep breathing is to people with anxiety and insomnia thanks to one of Olivia's videos. If you used to watch TVs before, younger generations might not relate. If a character has anger management issues, they would usually get a brown paper bag and breathe through it to calm themselves down. And for the longest time, I kid you not, I did not understand the concept. Don't worry if you don't, I'll try my best to explain. Keyword try. So our autonomic nervous system is categorized into 2 states: the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. I know deep words, but stay with me. A person goes to a sympathetic state whenever we feel anxious, stressed, or angry. At this state, we're most likely to have shallow or fast breathing. When we're calm, relaxed, or at ease, our breathing slows down, our heart rate goes down, and that is our parasympathetic phase. The key point here is that our body can only be in one state and never at the same time. So slow, deep breathing allows us to switch from sympathetic state to parasympathetic state. This would then stimulate the rest and relax response to our body, pushing away the anxiety, pushing away the stress and anger aside. Well, until you decide to switch back to the sympathetic state. This is how I came to appreciate deep breathing and meditation exercises. I allot 1 to 2 minutes of my time just to relax and clear my mind off of things before I start going into work, or if I'm already in a state of feeling stressed, which is quite a lot these days. 4. Allow yourself to feel and feel better. Growing up, we hear people say, "Don't cry, there's nothing to be sad about." And that culture taught us to avoid unpleasant emotions. And when we do, there's an impulse telling us to do something about it, to escape the bad experiences or thoughts. I read about this before. When people try to numb their sadness and pain, they're also numbing happiness and joy. You can't train your brain to selectively ignore unpleasant emotions. Processing and experiencing feelings, whether it be vulnerable or exciting, is part of having a full life. Getting vulnerable with people is a sign of strength. Ultimately, the way to heal is to let yourself feel. There are also healthier distractions or coping activities to make yourself feel better. 5. Be present. I know it's a little bit cliche, but self-imposed pressure often gives you anxiety. Anxiety of the future, anxiety of the past, anxiety of what's currently happening that we can't control. In other words, most of us are overthinkers. Shout out to all the overthinkers out there. We focus on the past mistakes or the outcomes of the future, and that is what's getting us stuck. By the way, we are torturing ourselves for the wasted time and effort of overthinking. Non-overthinkers, let me tell you, it takes so much energy to overthink. And no, we are not doing this just for fun or because we want to. What I've learned is that if you occupy your head with what's happening now and the present, then your head doesn't have to be anxious about being in another timeline. Focus on what you want to do, what you have to do, and what you love to do. Don't include anybody else in the context because you, my dear friend, is the protagonist of the story. And I know it isn't easy to not compare, even when you know that it is wrong for a person's success to be measured by somebody else. Your achievements are yours, and nobody can measure them but you. A trick that I learned myself is to talk yourself in the mirror and convince yourself that you are. It will definitely look weird when somebody else is in the room, but it will help reinforce your mind even by the tiniest bit, so you don't have to be eaten by anxiety and self-pressure that we put on ourselves. Well, that's the end of my list. I hope that some of these tips will help. If you have any other advice or tips about self-pressure, anxiety, or depression, I'd love to hear it in the comment section below. And the usual, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe and hit that notification bell for more updates. And let's distinguish the feeling of worthlessness in our brain. Self-imposed stress and pressure is really a big topic that I want to talk about. I really hope that you have the time to take care of yourself, especially during this quarantine period. Let's stay strong together.